So this waitress came on TikTok to explain her frustrations on black people not tipping.
This is really sad because I love black people so much, but I hate when they come to my job. Like, they never tip. Like,
so when it comes to tipping in America, here are the stats. According to USA Today, the average tip percentage in the US is 17.94%. California residents tip the most, and Illinois residents tip the worst. So if you want to go in the restaurant industry, do not work in Illinois. You will not be tipped. And millennials do tend to tip more than Gen Z. And the percentage tipped will be varied by income level. And that makes sense because if you make less money, you're less willing to tip. And not to say that I'm a bad tipper, but when I started making more money from YouTube and all the things I'm doing, I was more willing to give even better tips, like 20, 22%, 25%. When I didn't have as much money, I would probably tip 10, 15, you know, at least leave a tip. But if you guys also want to know how to start your own YouTube channel and online business, I will be making some videos on my Patreon, man. So stay tuned for that. So now that we got some stats, let's hear what this frustrated waitress have to say.
I be going so hard for black people, but never once have I ever had a black kid who tip me well, like, or like on percentage. Like maybe once in a while, but like I just had a table with like 15 people, Hispanic, like Dominican. I heard somebody saying they was Dominican, and then a table full of like black people. It was vibes the whole time. Like I really gave great service. I always give great service. You know, they did not tip. The bill was like $600. They did not tip. Like, and then they was doing the most. Like, they was sending stuff back. Like, they was asking for stronger drinks. Like, wanting free stuff. And like, no, like, mad at them. I can't stand serving black people.
And I could get why she's frustrated because if I was to give great service and I come back and see that the tip is 5%, maybe 10%, I would be frustrated too. Like, I just gave you great service. This is how I get paid. And you won't even leave a good tip.
5 minutes out there in the rain and no tip. No tip.
Because these servers, man, they make like $5 an hour and then they make up the rest of their wages from tips.
She's not wrong. Coming from a waitress, I've been waitressing for a few years now. Black folk are some of the worst tippers I've ever encountered in my entire fucking time of serving. They run you ragged. You get 15 strawberry lemonades. They always send something of their food back.
I'm not gonna lie, we do love our strawberry lemonade, man.
Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's overdone. Oh, it's this, it's that. They ask for extra liquor in their drinks and then look at you crazy when you charge them for the extra liquor. At first, it was like, oh no, guys, you know, everybody has their reasons for not tipping that well. And no, when it's a consistent thing, they're like, oh, you need to check yourself. Maybe it's your service. No, bitch. Everybody gets the same service. You're, as a waitress, you have no choice but to give great service. Period. I don't care what nobody's talking about. On top of that, yeah, they run you ragged. They do the fucking most just to tip you little to nothing. Running up $100 tab and feel like $5 is enough. Bitch, how would you feel if a motherfucker give you $5 and it's like, oh, because you got a few refills and you ran a plate.
And I know that some people would say, oh, she's just trying to appeal to the racist. But if she's experiencing this consistently, then it's a problem. It's clearly an issue, man. If it's consistent and she's just frustrated, this shit is legit happening. And I'm not gonna call out anybody, but I've been out with some, you know, some friends, even some family members that don't believe in tipping like that. You know who you are. For all these people that are not tipping, it's just gonna leave a bad impression about us. We're gonna walk into a restaurant and people gonna look at us and say, wow, they're probably not gonna tip. Because as human beings, we recognize patterns. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. They didn't come out of thin air. So that's why I always try to make a difference. I always try to tip. Unless I get some bad service, man. If I get some bad service, you're not getting a tip like that. I will make it be known that the service was horrible. It's also very unacceptable when you have a family of 20 walking out on a tab in a restaurant. That is not a good look for us.
20 people stiffed a waitress and restaurant when they did a dine and dash at the Crazy Cajun in Northwest Houston. This video posted to social media caught the table of 20 leaving the restaurant before paying their $500 tab. The manager says the group made several complaints and sent the food back to the kitchen. He says he even tried to fix the problems, but the guests couldn't be pleased. Management even comped some of the items. The diners also had a problem with the automatic gratuity. You can see some of them walking out with the food they complained about. 2 people did pay, but the rest of the bill was left unpaid. One person is even heard threatening the staff, saying they would get shot. The waitress, who is a single mother, lost her tip. The management has filed a police report.
First of all, how you gonna do the dash with 20 people in your party? And how you gonna complain about the food and bring it with you when you leave in the restaurant? What the fuck is going on, bro? This is not a good look at all, man. If you guys gonna go out and plan to dash on these meals and not tip, don't go to these restaurants at all. Go buy some groceries, make your meals at home. Don't go to these restaurants and make the headlines and embarrass us. I know there's black people that tip very well, myself included. So don't go out there and make a fool of yourself and let it reflect bad on us. Stay at home and cook. Get in the kitchen.
Hella hate comments on my video where I said 80% of African Americans either don't tip appropriately or they don't tip at all.
I feel like when you present a stereotype as a fact, you should at least have a study or evidence. Even though it may be your lived experience, there could be actual reasons why, which is why I did some research.
That's where stereotypes come from, man. So I'm from Jamaica, and a big stereotype is that we say man all the time and we have dreads. There are Jamaicans that have dreads and we do say man. It does come from truth, but it doesn't mean that every subject in that stereotype will be the same. Because the data from these collective experiences don't lie. I don't hear anyone complain about white people not tipping. I usually hear people complain about black people and Latinos not tipping. And I legit just asked my mom right before this video because she worked in the restaurant industry. And I asked her, Mom, from your experience, who tips the least? What races tip the least? And she said Latinos and melanated people. So black people and Latinos. And then I was like, do white people tip better? And she's like, yes, because they have more money. And then she also added that Indians don't tip so well either. So you're telling me that Indians don't tip? So I also found someone with an opposing opinion that some of their best tables as a server were from black people.
Y'all always get on this app talking about how black people don't tip, which as a former server, I just want to say some of my best tables and highest tips were black people, black families. But why y'all never talk about that church crowd? The Christian tippers, the people who will literally write on your ticket, Jesus only asked for 10%, so why should I give you 20?
Jesus only asked for 10%. And listen, man, I have heard a lot of people say that Christians are very stingy when it comes to the music industry. Like they don't want to pay that much for like recording. Because I used to, go to school for music and all stuff like that. I would hear my teachers say that the Christians, the gospel singers are very picky, very tedious, and they're cheap. I don't know why they're so stingy. They said Jesus only asked for 10%. So why should I give you more? That's funny as hell, man. All right, so as you can see that tips will be better based on income levels. But I do know that there's people that will go to these restaurants and have the mentality to not tip whatsoever because they believe that they already paid for the food. Why should I be giving you extra money? I got what I came here for. These servers make their money from tips. They get paid below minimum wage and then they make the rest from their tips. And that's why my mom always advises me to tip because she's been in the industry and she sees how it is. She even said I should tip my barber. I never used to tip my barber because I didn't think it was like a common thing to tip barbers. I think I just go in there, get my haircut, pay for it, and leave. But now, for a year now, I've been tipping my barber. Now that I've been aware of it. If he pushes my hairline back a little bit too much, I'm not tipping. And with that said, I'll see you on the next video, man. Let me know your thoughts on the situations. And if you do work in the food industry, let me know your experiences as well. I will be going through the comments. Bye, y'all.